Dr. Ruth Simmons was born the youngest of 12 siblings in the small East Texas town of Grapeland.
I was born on a farm. My parents were sharecroppers, and we had really a more or less typical family life as sharecroppers in East Texas.
Growing up during the Jim Crow era was difficult for Ruth and her family.
During those days, it was pretty tough going, I would say, for my family. No rights to speak of, no civility, no dignity. We struggled to build a life based on kind of family values and our connections to each other and our aspirations that things would change one day.
During high school, just as the civil rights movement was getting underway, Ruth's teachers had the expectations for her that she didn't have for herself.
Every woman I knew worked fundamentally as a maid. And so I expected to become a maid. And I didn't dream of college. I didn't dream of anything more than that, except by the time I was finishing high school, a teacher put in my head that I had to go to college.
Through her experience at college, Ruth was able to see the possibilities that awaited.
And I was no longer just a product of Grapeland, Texas, and Fifth Ward in Houston. I was somebody who lived in a world where there were many, many people. It was pivotal to me that I had the opportunity to meet people in college who greatly expanded my world.
After her undergraduate degree, Ruth continued her PhD at Harvard University. She then embarked upon an impressive career and eventually ended up serving as the president of several universities. Despite her accomplishments, she credits some of her failures as her biggest successes.
When I was told once that by a supervisor that my work was the worst that he'd ever seen. Oh my goodness, the worst he'd ever seen. And so I cried. I was disconsolate, but I went back and redid it and I turned it in. And I thought at the time he was the meanest person in the world. But learning to accept criticism, especially criticism that makes you better at what you're doing, is one of the most important things. And because I did, and I mastered that, he was the one who actually propelled me into a presidency.
And although Ruth has a resume consisting of some of the most prestigious universities in the country, she believes that the value is the education, not the institution.
I managed somehow to be involved in elite institutions like Princeton and Smith and Brown, but I also always wanted to go into institutions that were not necessarily seen as elite, because I think the value of what students are able to do wherever they are, that is something to be promoted, because you can be successful wherever you start that journey. And that's why I left Brown and went to Prairie View, historically black college, because all students, the work of all students is valid.
Through all of her success, Ruth believes family is still the most important.
And I wanted my children very much to be aware of what family could mean. So as they were growing up, I would bring them here to be around this larger family all the time. And so they've grown up with an extended family that they are exceedingly close to. And that to me is really the most wonderful thing. These are things that I got from my parents, who just insisted that we hold together as a family, and we have.
Dr. Ruth Simmons, 2023 inductee into the J.A. Hall of Achievement.